How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Make Money Trucking. So hopefully you can hear me all right. I'm just heading back from big city that I had to drive 2 hours to. But that brings me to the point of this video, how I saved from having to pay or lose about $7,000 for a power steering pump for my 2011 Freightliner Coronado. So basically, I had a power steering pump go out on my truck a couple days ago, and I called all my Freightliner dealerships in the area that I am in, and none of them had it. So I kept pressuring them and asking them, well, when will you get it in? And they said, we don't have any in the country currently. So Freightliner currently does not have any power steering pumps for 2011 DD15 engines. I don't know if they're different, the newer models, that they're much different, but they superseded the part to another model from the older one. So therefore, that might have something to do with it. It seems like every time they supersede a part and they change the part, it seems like not only that new part's hard to get, but it seems like the older one becomes hard to get. So after calling Freightliner and getting this news, I called a couple more Freightliner dealerships, and they said they told me the same thing. Basically, we don't have any. There's a national back order. So how you prevent from losing a bunch of money on parts is the fact of you've got to go hunting. I love like hunting for parts, cars, trucks, trailers in every corner of the internet. So I got online and I started calling every aftermarket parts distributor, parts place I could find in the area that I'm currently running in. So basically, just give you a little bit of numbers here. So they told me that their warehouses would be receiving these power steering pumps on November 1st. So if I was lucky, I might have gotten it by the 2nd or 3rd of November. It's October 24th, so that's 6 or 7 days I would miss out on revenue, plus the cost of the parts. So that's about $7,000 I would be losing, and not really want to do that, especially while I'm working somewhat out of town. I can always fly home and I guess take advantage of some home time, but I really wanted to keep working for a few more months out here before I actually do that. But anyways, so how I saved that money and kept myself running is I pretty much called some aftermarket parts dealers, and I called probably 6 or 7 of them, and no joke, 5 of them told me they can't get that part, and they said, oh, that is proprietary to Freightliner only. So meaning that it's a Freightliner only OEM part, and that there's no aftermarket options. So there again, a lot of people out there would have stopped there and not kept on pushing. But I don't like to take no for an answer, and you guys should not take no for an answer either. And this is how, if you're savvy enough and you're persistent enough and you don't want to give up, and you're you like to hunt and hustle, you can get parts. So I finally called another parts place, gave them the part number, and then they were actually, in their system, they were able to roll it back to an older part number, which is just an older model, and they have an aftermarket version for that. So finally, it took me about an hour and a half, but I think that's well worth your time, just making some phone calls, looking on Google, and talking to some people on the phone saying, hey, where are some of the places I could try? Because some of these heavy-duty truck parts places are not very well known, and even if you type it up online, they don't really come up on Google. So when you call these dealers or these other parts places, ask them, hey, is there anywhere else to get heavy-duty truck parts? And that's what I did. So a couple hours worth of work saved me literally about $7,000 in lost revenue and the part itself. So I ended up finding an aftermarket version. It was about $400 and got me the lines and whatnot. So that's going to work out pretty good. And yeah, so I just wanted to kind of tell you guys how I'm able to save a lot of money in downtime with just picking up the phone and getting on Google and not taking no for an answer, and just trying to solve and figure out the problem. This could be extremely useful for a lot of you guys out there especially when you're dealing with like OEM type of parts, like through Freightliner and whatnot. A lot of times right now, the weirdest things, it was electronics I thought was hard to get, which I'm sure they still are, but now even hard parts get hard to get. We had a problem with the exhaust manifolds in this case. Luckily, there was a dealer in Iowa that had one on their shelf, so we got it from them. But and then now I think they're getting a little bit more of them in stock. Just some really bizarre, like hard parts you wouldn't think of, you know, like exhaust manifold, power steering pump and whatnot. So just a little FYI on how to save yourself some money and be persistent and just got to think outside the box, because if not, you know, that's probably how a lot of guys, you know, get themselves in some, you know, big trouble. Is, you know, they have, I mean, it's a $400 part that almost cost me $7,000 in lost revenue because I couldn't run, because and it wasn't like it was squealing and not wanting to turn, so I couldn't run the truck with it. You know, sometimes they're whining, but they still work. This one is not working. It's by the time I limped it back to where I'm parking at, it was like done for. It was like, nope, no more. So I'll have a video of that possibly. I don't know if I'm gonna replace the power steering pump myself or have a mechanic do it. I've got some other things I need to get taken care of, so I'm gonna try for that, to have the mechanic do it. But if not, I'll end up doing it myself, and I'll either put that in this video or it'll be part of another video. But yeah, how you guys can save yourself on truck parts out there as far as availability and cost. Just start calling around, talk to every parts place, ask them other parts place they know of, give them the part numbers, and sometimes you'll have to work off an older part number. Sometimes they'll come out the new part number, and you got to ask them for the old part number, and then just start calling around and seeing, you know, who has it available. And with that, if you want to do the extra leg work, which sometimes I do this, it kind of depends on how busy or how much work I have, how much time I have. You know, if there's a part that, you know, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 places have, I might start calling them individually and getting different prices just to price match it, or try to get the lowest price possible if I have time. You know, in a perfect world, that would be the case, but sometimes we don't always have that luxury, because, you know, I'm headed to this side of town and I just need it, and I don't want to go to another side of town and then, you know, or spend, you know, 30 minutes on the phone waiting on hold. So yeah, that's a good way to find parts if the dealer says, oh, it's not available. Also, eBay is great. eBay is great if you have the actual part number and you can verify the actual part that they're selling and the part number that they're selling, if that makes sense. So if you can verify that what they're selling is the right part, and then get the right part number on your end and make sure they verify the part number on their end, so you're not buying something online that is the wrong part. But all right, guys, have a good one. Hopefully this helps you out. Don't get screwed on, you know, parts availability and parts prices. Look elsewhere. Search for aftermarket options. I will be the first to admit to you, though, some of these aftermarket parts are not as good as OEM. But if you're in a pinch like I am and you just need to get running, you don't want to, you know, be out of town waiting for 7-8 days for something to come in, this is a way to do it. Now, eventually, I have ordered the OEM one, and I will buy that one when it comes in and put it in you know, my parts pile, so that I can, you know, possibly put that in later, because just in case this aftermarket one doesn't work as well, because sometimes you have that issue where you buy an aftermarket part and it's not as good, and sometimes it's opposite. Sometimes aftermarket parts, certain ones are a lot better than the OEM. All right, guys, have a good one. Let me know some situations you've had, comment down below, and I will see you guys on the next one.